just setting up the live stream. It's looking good. Okay. So, yes, as I've written in the notes of the live stream video notes, I watched an interview with one of the Asobo developers last night, and they were talking about the career mode and that the boxed route that you see in the sky is really only a guide. You do not have to follow it at all. As long as you follow what ATC tells you to do, it's completely up to you how you fly the flight. But that said, there are some grey areas around choice of altitudes, but we're going to do some flights today and we'll do the planning ourselves. So we'll still achieve the aim of the mission, but we're going to turn off all the visual assists. So we are going to fly as we want to. Okay? So let's go and jump inside the airplane. We can see here on our tablet, which is our reference information, it is not the law. We're departing Miyake, and we're doing a VFR departure, so we'll get instructions from the tower. If we have a tower, we'll find out very shortly. Oh, we do, look, because it's requesting taxi clearance. We're not just announcing. Okay, so, and then when we arrive at Yao, we're going to do a VFR approach as well. So we're going to go and pencil these in to the various tools we have at our disposal. So first of all, we've got the flight planner from Microsoft Flight Simulator itself, which is on planner.flightsimulator.com. So we'll go and put our airplane type in, and then we'll go and put the route in. So looking in here, it's from RJTQ to RJOY. The only reason I'm using this is because it's free. RJTQ to RJOY. Save. So that will show us it on the map. So we're taking off from here, we're flying across the hills. So my first concern is going to be if we are at VFR altitudes, I bet there's mountains here. So let's go and see what we can see in here. If we go VFR on the map, yeah, there's various mountains. So we may end up having to put some waypoints in to keep the height fairly low, or just go manual even. If we want to see something better than that, we can use LittleNavMap. So if I just clear the route I've already got and center on the aeroplane, and don't put anything in here, so we need to know that again, RJTQ to RJOY. So flight plan, the quick way of putting a flight plan into LittleNavMap is to go to the flight plan menu and go to the description, and you can say RJT, if I type it in correctly, RJTQ, RJ, was it OY? Yeah. Okay, so there's our basic end to point, and it's VFR, so we'll be departing VFR and ending up on some sort of track or other. But then we want to see these altitudes. Now, will this kind of, yes, working. So we want to get to at least 4,000 feet if we're going to straight line it across here. So that's the only thing we really need to know about. Or we can stay at kind of 2,000 feet and look for a route that keeps us at low altitude. So you might want to go via some of these waypoints, or you can zoom in on the map and go and look at the altitudes. So you've got this in meters, so Habik here is at about 150 meters by the look of it, which times 3, 750 feet. So we could do that, and we could use the waypoints to come through these hills. How high are they? So the high points are, well, if you can stay in the low part of the valley and fly down here, you can stay well below. So you've got 400 meters at the peaks up here. So you're looking at 1,200 feet to 1,500 feet because it goes higher than that. There's a peak here though, which is 700, so that's 2,500 feet you'd need to be at least to clear it. And you'd need to clear it by 1,000 really. So we're doing our homework basically about, you know, the route we can take to keep this fairly safe, or we could just go north of the airfield and go straight across here, because none of this is very high by the look of it. Yeah, it's only a couple hundred meters. So if we were to go via, you know, go landfall at Ogila and then go to Gamba and then come in, that would be a better way to do it. Yeah, so we'll insert Ogila and Gamba into our flight plan in the aeroplane. So rather than do find route, we're going to put our own waypoints in. So there are no en route waypoints at the moment, so we'll add, and we'll go Ogila and add that, and then we'll add Gamba. Now there are several, so I imagine it's going to choose the closest. We'll find out in a moment. And we'll go and have a look at what that's done. Yeah, so we've got our route now, look. That'll get us through the hills without hitting anything, hopefully. So if we go and put the maps into satellite, oh no, terrain would be better, wouldn't it? Obviously, the real trick we can play though is put this into terrain mode, which I've already done, as you can see. If we go into map options, I'm going to turn terrain off. Oh, I'll put it on topographic for the moment just so you can see this. So we're going to go to the flight plan page. And you can see we haven't got those waypoints in here, so this is entirely divorced from this. But in some aeroplanes, and I think the Cessna is one of them, after playing around with your route in here, you can send this to your avionics, so we'll try it. So it's copied across the waypoints and put them in, which saves us some time basically. So we can just press enter at that point. So we can see we are here on the map, and we can see there's our route across. So when we get a bit closer, what we can do is put this map into relative mode. So obviously it won't reflect, it reflects our altitude and things that are higher than us. It'll make a lot more sense when we're in the air. So we'll stay on topographic mode for the moment, and then when we're flying over, we'll be able to look at it. So we're going to get rid of the tablet for the moment then. So we've got everything we wanted from the tablet. We're going to go and make sure the airplane's ready. So again, this is a bit odd. If you press, or if you just advance to the engine already running, which you don't get penalised for, it does things very strangely. So it already had the strobe on, which you wouldn't use until the runway. It already got the taxi lights on. Again, you wouldn't do that until you cleared the taxi. Oh, I suppose you could, but it's not the best thing in the world to do. So we do need to go and calibrate the altimeter. It was nearly correct anyway. Okay, so we'll go and ask for taxi clearance. I'm just going to check. So if I do that.
Ground Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta ready to taxi departure to the west.
Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta taxi to and hold short of runway 20 using taxiway. Contact tower on 125. Niner when ready.
Okay, so we acknowledge taxi clearance.
Taxiing hold short runway 20 using taxiway Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
So you will notice I've got no visual cues on the ground going on, although the box has appeared. So I think they will appear come what may. So if I press Ctrl-Alt-V, there's the taxi lines. I've mapped that key myself for the, I'll show you what it's mapped to, so you can go and do the same if you wish. So if you go to the keyboard settings, and if I search by input and press Ctrl-Alt-V, it's called Toggle Visual Assistances Display. Yeah, and I've mapped it to a key that wasn't mapped. Okay, So we're going to go resume. And looking at the wind, yes, did he say runway 20 was the takeoff? If you're not sure, you can always just turn this on. But let's go. Let's follow the arrows. Just we can switch it all off as soon as we're on the runway. Control. Actually, we can look in the aeroplane. It will be in that rough guide. It will already be in there. So if you go and press this, press tab, and you go and look in here, runway 20. Yeah. So if you go and look on the map, we need to taxi out to the left. So we'll go out onto the runway and go down to runway 20. So the main thing we can do, if I press Ctrl Alt V, we can get rid of that. So it just puts the box on the edge of the runway, which is the hold short point. So it's completely up to us now. So we'll go and get rid of this, so we know we're turning left when we get to the runway. We don't need the visual assistance, this is the whole point. Okay.
Tower Cessna Golf.
So this is just procedural communication with ATC.
20 west departure.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta altimeter tree 0. 05 departure to the west approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 20.
So we acknowledge takeoff clearance.
Cleared for takeoff runway 20 Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
So we just go and taxi down now to the end of the runway. So I'll do this from outside so you get something to look at. So we do not need flaps for takeoff. So we're just going to taxi down to the beginning of runway 20 and spin the aeroplane back around. There's a hell of a crosswind going on. It's pushing the tails to the right. So it's trying to weathercock the aeroplane off the runway. You have to remember, you can taxi quickly on a runway, you can't taxi quickly on a taxiway. Whoa, look at that, the wind trying to get into the aeroplane. It's pretty horrendous conditions. So we're going to press Alt 7 and I'm going to sit up. So we've aligned with the runway. So notice we have no big marker right in front of us this time. So what we're going to do, I've just put the parking brake on while we get things ready. We're going to set the heading bug to the direction we're going. We're also going to go and set the initial altitude for climb out to say about 2,000 feet maybe. And we'll go heading mode on the autopilot, and vertical speed mode, we'll go and set it for about 500 feet a minute. We'll make sure we've got rich mixture, we have. Right, so it's up to us. That's a wicked crosswind. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How we got away without crashing the aeroplane then, I don't know. So I was on full right aileron. This is one of the problems of career mode. Look at that windsock. You can get unflyable conditions. So I'm on full right aileron, trying to get to 55 knots. And we're up, we're away, and we're safe. Look at that crabbing. As long as you don't crack the wing into the ground too hard, you can get away with scraping it. We may have some damage to fix on the aeroplane now, though. Look at that! Oh my word. So yeah, the one hole in career mode at the moment is saying now just fly to Yao and climb to 1300 feet, look. So it's up to us to get on and do that. So we're going to get up to 1300 feet.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta continue for west departure.
So we can start turning west. As you can see, look, our journey takes us west. We'll fly around the island though, hey? On our way up to 1300 feet. So we've got wind data now, look, 30 knots. So that's the one hole in career mode at the moment, is it will give you conditions that are unflyable. Whether they will fix that, I don't know.
Sierra Delta acknowledge last transmission.
I was busy talking and didn't respond to it.
Tower Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta continue for west departure.
So we're just climbing out to 1300 feet now, and we're going to pull the engine back a little bit. Okay, so we've gone up through 13, or we're getting close to 1300 feet. Enough that it thinks we've done well enough. So it's shut up about it. And now it's just saying get to the destination. So it's on our flight plan now. So we're not taking any notice of the route it would have taken. We can see the route it would have taken if we press Ctrl-Alt-V that I mapped. It's over there, look. But we're not. Because that's just a straight line route. We're going to keep things sensible. So, you can see here we've got the GPS track that I programmed in. So what might be nice is if we go and have a look on the map. Are there any waypoints out here? There really aren't, are there? But it would be good if we could put Lacos in the way. So what I'll do, I'll set the heading bug. So it's going the direction we're going. So autopilot on. It's in heading mode already, remember. And it's climbing at 500 feet a minute to get to at least 2,000 feet. So we're being thrown around all over the place, but we're not going to take any notice of that. That's just a bit of turbulence off the island. That will smooth out if we get a few thousand feet of altitude. Or hopefully... Whoa! So we went from over 100 knots. Oh, hang on a second. I need to jump outside.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta, leaving my airspace frequency change approved. Cessna Victor Sierra Delta, did you copy?
Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. So we have to acknowledge handoff.
November Victor Sierra Delta frequency change.
So we're getting closer to the GPS track, so I was going to put an interstitial waypoint in, but I don't think we need it because we're getting closer. So what we're going to do is say nav mode, so it will do both until it gets close enough to the track. So if we go and zoom in on this, you can see we're heading at a slight angle, a slight intercept angle, so we're coming in towards the track at an angle. And there we go, it's got close enough. So there was no need. If I hadn't had to run out of the room quickly there, it wouldn't have been a problem. We'd have had time to go and insert the waypoint. So you can see as we are, what I was going to do was put Lacoste in the route and then fly direct to it. So we are now on our track pretty much to go hands-free all the way. But we can see there's an island coming over here that's going to be near to our route, but we're just about to turn back to GPS, so we should just pass it. That was kind of by design. Look, we'll go whizzing past the edge of it. So what I'm going to do then is go Alt-R, 1, 2, 3, so we've accelerated time, and we'll just concentrate now on trimming the engine back to save some fuel. So we don't have any marker out in front of us telling us how far to go anymore, but what we do have is estimated time en route. Yeah, and we can actually configure a lot of this. So if we come back out of here, we can go to detail. It's quite interesting, isn't it, some of the options this gives you. And if we go to menu, we can go to map settings, enter. Orientation, north up, terrain display, topo scale. I thought we could choose these fields. Let me just pop the yoke off. Yeah, here we go. You have to be fairly quick at doing this, otherwise you lose the dialogue. Here we go. Ah! I'm being very crap at doing it. Maybe it won't. I thought it did. I thought it might be hidden in that dialogue. When you roll the FMS knob, when there's nothing else selected, it shows you a different dialogue. What's in map options? No. I thought we could I thought we could change the parameters. Maybe we can't. But this will give you it. So this is to the next waypoint on the GPS route. So we've got 122 miles to go. The only reason I'm saying estimated time en route isn't much use to us because we're in accelerated time. So it's going to be largely useless. So we're literally just whizzing across the ocean at speed on our way towards the land. So let's see how fast we can get away with doing this. And that was the fourth click of plus. I don't really want to go any faster than that because the simulator starts to lose its mind. So we're just trundling across the ocean. I'm keeping half an eye on that green bar on the indicated airspeed because the wind is still, we've got a 35-40 knot headwind. Thankfully I put a lot of fuel in the aeroplane when we took off. So we'll be going literally a third less speed than we should be able to go. Oh, sorry, I should say our ground speed will be markedly less than our airspeed indicates. So we just need to keep half an eye on the mission steps interface in case we get any handovers between sectors, so we can usually predict them. You can see them, although this is bugged. You can see them in here. So if I zoom back out, this is quite slow to draw, isn't it? If we go to sectors, oh, it's already showing them. Okay. Yeah, so when we cross over however many miles that is from the coast, it may well do an ATC change. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So if we show them in LittleNavMap, although this hasn't got the same sectors rendered, look. It doesn't render it in the same way. So we may be okay. We're not changing airspaces until we get over Nara, and then we may switch over to the airport. We'll see what happens. Yeah, the reason I say about this is if we were to, it will show the sectors in here actually. Yeah, you can see them. So when we get a bit closer, yeah, we're still in the same airspace, look, all the way in. But the other thing that came up yesterday, flying some Korea flights, is occasionally you will get restricted airspaces. So they appear as red usually. You can make them appear, they're switched off by default in here. But if you fly into one, you'll take a hit for it in terms of your reputation and money. So I can't see any around at the moment. So this part of the world doesn't appear to have them as much as France did, which is interesting. Anyway, we should be able to see land. There we go, we can see land. So we need to be careful about our altitude, remember. We're still accelerating time to get the middle part of the route done. We never put the landing light. Oh, we didn't need it, did we? Strobe should have been on. So this is interesting. The career mode will not penalise you for not operating the lights correctly, which is, I think, is a shame. Hopefully they'll add that in an update. Going remarkably smoothly at the moment for it. Yeah, it's not bobbing at the moment, which is good. Maybe that wind has calmed down. Yeah, it's down to 20 knots, look, rather than 30. Oh, he says as we go over the island and the turbulence kicks us. But it's smoothed out again now. Look, now we're over the ocean. So we are getting closer to landfall, so this is where we'll need to maybe turn the accelerated time down a bit, because it's going to be bumpy as all heck in a few minutes, and we'll need to validate that our route keeps us high enough. We might give it another 1,000 feet just for safety's sake. So the whole point of us going out this way is because the hills over here could have interfered with our altitude we were flying at. So I'm going to turn the speed down a little bit. So we've now got 40 miles to run to Gamba. Yeah, so we've gone past over Aguila on our way to Gamba. Obviously the higher altitude you get to, I'm keeping an eye on this, because we're running a simulator in accelerated time, it won't be as accurate as it normally would be if it was running in real time in terms of holding altitudes, so it will bob around. And the reason we're flying the whole flight and not skipping is because you lose a whole stack of money and experience points if you do that. I don't think it does penalise you for landing less. Well, it may do in a test, but certainly not during a normal career flight. We'll find out, because I took off without the landing lights, so we'll see. Well, we scraped the wing, didn't we, as well, with the crazy winds. So we're 23 miles to run into Gamba, and then we're going to turn in towards the airport. And then we have to take notice of what the controllers tell us, because again, we're not showing the boxes, so we're going to figure it out ourselves about how we enter the pattern and how we align ourselves for the runway. Yeah, that extra 1,000 feet come in handy, look. We would have been very close to the ground through here. Okay, so if you look at the map now, we're coming out over this flat area and then we're going out past these hills and turning left. So you can see we're avoiding this row of hills here, which is these. So we're going over a low area of them before turning in. Let's turn the sectors off so it doesn't keep popping up. So it should be fairly straightforward. So I've put it back to normal speed for the moment. What we want to do is drop ourselves down to 2,000 feet now. So vertical speed, we'll just come down at 500 feet a minute. We're not in a hurry. So 3 times acceleration again. Just going to come off the throttle a little bit. Okay, so we need to contact the tower. I did press enter. Let's try again. If it doesn't work, I've learnt this as a trick. Open up the comms section. So contact arrival tower. So we need to find the airport we're going to, which was RJOY, wasn't it?
Yao Tower Cessna Golf. November Victor
See, it's
Sierra
lit it up.
Delta 7 miles northeast 2000. For to land.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta Yao Tower. Altimeter tree 0. 15 fly left traffic runway tree 1.
There we go. That's what we were waiting for.
Make left traffic runway. Tree 1 Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
So there's runway 31. We want to be doing left traffic, so we're going to fly around the airport and come in runway 31. Okay? So we want to be flying across here. Or we do an overhead entry and fly over the airport 2,000 feet up and then drop down into the traffic pattern. But if we can go around as well, as long as we stay high on this side. So we're going to turn to about 225 degrees. So heading bug the direction we're going, heading mode, and go to 225. 230 probably by now. We have to factor the wind into that. The wind's against us, so we want more of an angle than that. So I'm going to go for 240 degrees. So there's the airport. We're coming out this way. We're going to fly around and come in. So left pattern, left traffic means flying left, doing left turns around the airport. So your final left turn brings you onto runway 31. So yeah, I only realised that yesterday, that if it doesn't respond to pressing enter, which is kind of the Xbox method of getting it to prompt itself, you just open communication and tune to the tower yourself. And it triggers it. So James is saying fly over the runway to join pattern. It's absolutely allowed, as long as you're high enough. It's just an overhead join. But yeah, as long as you're above the pattern altitude, you can come in. Because what's the elevation of the runway here? It's 33 feet, look. So yeah, 2,000 feet will be fine. Pattern altitude would be 1,000 feet. And the final turn will be 500 feet. So we're going to turn to, now bearing in mind the wind is going to push us this way, so we probably want 140 degrees down this side of the airfield, and probably, you know, a mile to a mile and a half away to give us time. Because we're doing this left pattern, when we get perpendicular with the end of the runway there, they will give us clearance to land. That's the trigger point. So you're flying along here, and as soon as you're parallel with the end of the runway you're approaching, they will call you out and give you a clearance. You can see this on the map here, and you can probably see it on here as well, just as well. Can we just move this around and zoom in? There's the runway we're going for, runway 31. Look, there's the final marker. So you do see that, because you know the sim will look for it. So we'll extend downwind to make sure we fly through the final marker. So that's probably our best visual reference at the moment. So we're going to turn 140 degrees in a moment. we're also going to drop ourselves down. I've just corrected the barometric pressure. We're going to drop ourselves down to pattern altitude, so we want to go to 1,000 feet. So vertical speed, we can drop down quite quickly. So just to visualize this on the map, what we're doing, look, we're coming down. So if we look out to the side, when we get alongside the end of this runway, they'll call us. But we're going to extend downrange. So any moment. It's famous last words, isn't it?
Cessna Victor
There we
Sierra
go.
Delta Wind 278 at 8. Cleared to land runway tree 1.
So we acknowledge the landing clearance.
Cleared to land runway, tree 1 Cessna Victor, Sierra Delta.
I need to be mindful of these hills. We're nearly down to 1,000 feet, which is perfect. And if we look on the map over here, we're almost far enough away from the final now. Okay, so we'll go, turn the autopilot off. We can fly it from here. I'm going to go and put head tracking on now. So we're looking to slow down. So remember runway 31, so which is our compass direction we're looking for. That is the, oh, there's the runway. You can see the runway there, look. So it's just a judgment thing now. So we're within flaps range. So let's go and put the landing lights on. Turned a little bit too early there. It wasn't quite perfect. That wind is still vicious, isn't it? That's 15 gusting above 20 by the look of it. What I might do is come in with only 50% flaps and come in quite fast. There's no, oh, there is puppies. Are they working? Are they all red? Is this a steep glide slope? Let's just try and see over the nose to see if those puppies are actually working. They don't always work. So notice you have the option of calling a go around. We're not going to. Land whatever. So are those puppies actually working, or are we just coming too shallow? I think they might be working, but they're just very, very dull. No, they're not working. Oh, they're for the other runway. This runway doesn't have them.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta. Did you hear my last transmission? Cessna Victor Sierra Delta exit runway when able.
I thought we acknowledged it. Okay, so we've probably got a penalty for that. We missed one of the callbacks. But there's our box, look, we have to put the aeroplane in, which appears whether you've got the assistance on or not. I must have missed there was a final callback.
Ground on 121.8.
121. 8 for Cessna Victor, Sierra Delta. Yao ground Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta.
We don't
request
have to
taxi
do this.
parking.
We can just press Alt N.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta Taxi to General Aviation parking using taxiway.
As soon as we acknowledge, it will tell us where it is.
Bravo, 1 cross runway, tree 1 cross runway, 27.
And this is why. It's going to send us all over the airport.
Taxiing to General Aviation parking via taxiway Golf, 1 cross
It's
runway,
probably down the far end
tree
somewhere.
Bravo, 1 cross runway, tree 1 cross runway.
If I press Control Alt V,
2 Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
yeah, look. It's somewhere over there. So we have to go backtrack onto the runway, down the next runway, but we don't have to do any of that. We can just press Alt and N at this point and we won't be penalised. So Control Shift E will shut the engine down. Again, we don't get penalised for it. And we'll see how we did. Yeah, look, airline procedures. We missed a call out. And the runway excursion. So that caused those dings on the performance, but it won't affect money. I don't think. That's a good one, isn't it? 140,000 credits for one flight. So, I guess, let's go and see if that actually damaged the aeroplane when we scraped the wing. We have to pay 3,000 credits to get it looked at, don't we? Yeah, look, we've got all sorts of things to get fixed. So, 36,000, pay it. Landing gear to maintain. Why is it not... There we go. So we fixed everything and it cost us a fortune. But we still got 800,000 credits in the bank. So the problem is I'm flying obviously with live weather. And sometimes it can be a bit nuts. So let's have a look and see what's around. If we go and drop down, there's another 40,000 credit flight there, look. Standard air freight. It's a 3 hour 30 minutes, so it's a long time in accelerated time again. But let's see what else appears if we zoom out. So that's the winner so far. Whoa. What about if we do an employee flight? Give it a chance to draw. See, what I'm looking for here is the air freight missions. It's the medium air freight, look. So that's going to be either the Caravan or the Twin Otter. Oh no, it's PC-12, sorry. It tells you on the card. There's a light. It's a shame you can't filter it to show just the mediums. There's another one. That's a Grand Caravan. Oh. So these earn a serious amount of money. The only reason I'm looking at this is if we come back out of the missions and we go and have a look in no, not companies, in specializations. In order to do a heavy it's in order to go flying the jets, quite apart from being able to afford one, you need to do this, look. Fly some medium cargo transport missions where they are above. You have to do 15 of them. So this is why I was thinking about maybe doing that, but I think it would be cheaper if I just go and buy my own aeroplane. Or quicker. So I'll stick on the freelance missions for the moment. and just do the ones that pay. Yeah, someone's just made a good point. My plane does need a wash. It's a real mess at the moment. I haven't washed it for ages. So if I go into the company and all companies and manage company and fleet, there's my airplane, manage the aircraft. Let's give it a wash. Just out of interest, how much can I sell the Cessna for? Not enough to make it worth doing. Okay, so the next mission was the 40,000 credit one, wasn't it? Just waiting for it to redraw. For some reason the system's on a go slow. Oh, it's changed around the world, I think we are. So that was the 40,000 credit mission. And obviously that will triple with bonuses if we do it correctly. So accept the mission using our little Cessna. So we need £189 of fuel. So if we look in management of the aircraft, fuel and payload, and manage fuel, yeah, I've discovered this morning you don't have to wheel the mouse to move this round. You can just click on the radial and fill it up. So a couple of thousand credits worth of fuel. So this will give you the EFB in here with the plan in it. So we're going from RJBD to RJAF. So we could get our route ready before we get anywhere near the aeroplane on the runway. So RJBD, let's go and figure it out for ourselves. So new flight plan. Let's go and put a correct aeroplane in here as well. We want a Cessna, don't we? 172. Just so we get the fuel calculations in LittleNavMap as well in the top of climb and descent. RJBD to RJAF. So another way of doing this in LittleNavMap, you can just search. So RJBD. Set that as a departure. RJAF is our destination. So you can see it's already got our airplane on the ground. The sim is crafty, look. It's loaded this area of the world in already while we're looking at this screen. Which means when we leave this screen, it'll be much quicker. So, we're looking, yeah, look at this, we've got to fly across mountains. So we want, either we go to 6,000 feet and straight line it. And again, this is a Cessna, it's not a high performance airplane. It's saying like 7,500, which is getting up towards like 10.5 is about its limit. Or we fly a different route to avoid the high ground, but we're going to get more at the other end. So it may just be the case we get to 7,500 feet and straight line it. That might be the easiest way. So let's see if there's any waypoints we can use along the way to help us out. Not really. There's Yatar. So if we were to put Yatar in our route, and at the other end, just looking at the lie of the hills, it looks like it's lower this side. So we might do something like that, just to keep away, although it's still not going to work, is it? So if we remove that one, it gives us a bit better descent, although we'll probably end up, the easiest route might be to fly for the VOR and circle down. Let's remove that distance measurement. So it may be easier just to get into the area. So yeah, rather than do that, let's just fly overhead and we'll stay high. And then navigate our way into the route when we get there. Or into the approach. So we're going to add Yatar into our route. Should we see if there is some way of coming in lower? Which way is the wind going to be when we get there? Although it's going to be in a couple of hours time, game time, isn't it? So 222, so wind's coming out of the southwest at 6 knots. So you're probably going to be looking at runway 18 anyway, so you could look at coming in over here, F Cassie. So we'll use that as a marshalling point. So if we were to put that in our route and double back to come in, it will make it easy for us. Yeah, because then it's got this wacky VFR teardrop into a box pattern to come in, but that's ridiculous. We'll just come in straight through final from F Cassie. Okay. And you can see I've got the radar layer is on here. There's some bits of rain around, so once we get this far out, there might be rain over here. You can see that if you've got Navigraph. So if we go and borrow that flight plan that we've just picked up, so copy flight plan to the clipboard, go into Navigraph, do a new flight, and paste this in here. Let's see if it agrees with the weather. So there's our approach down into the runway. We want to go and show weather, please. There's only little bits. Oh, there's a lot more over the coast. But that's at 220. What about if we pull this down to where we're going to be flying, which is going to be sort of 7,000 feet-ish. We're going to hit rain on the way and cloud. Okay. It's not a problem, it's just something to be aware of. So let's go fly. So Captain Zan is saying, can you do a LittleNavMap tutorial? I'm going to wait until it's working with the new simulator properly, because at the moment I've just dropped lucky that I haven't deleted my 2020 database. Okay, should we do the walk around bit this time and start the airplane up ourselves just to make it a bit more interesting? So, click that. We don't have to press Shift-C either. We can crouch down, come under here and open the door, and that will get us in as well. Although it gets the view wrong. So I press backspace to toggle us inside, turn off the head tracking for a moment. So if we go and look on here, you'll see the route that we prepared in the hangar is still in the aeroplane, or in the tablet. So when we get the avionics up and running, we'll transfer it over. So pop the yoke off, set the fuel to both tanks, go and put the beacon light on, put the batteries on, arm the standby battery, go to rich mixture and crack the throttle open a little bit, and then
Captain,
we have an engine.
Are you ready? Great. It's Takahiro, your dispatcher, you know.
Avionics on.
Just a quick reminder about today's job. You're carrying bulk on this flight. Standard shipment for our partner based in Nagoya, but super urgent. You must reach Matsumoto ASAP. The skids have a good tolerance with turbulences to preserve the cargo, but it's crucial you keep a smooth, yet quick flight. If you also ensure timely arrival, you maintain our high standards of service excellence, and everyone's satisfied.
So we're
You
going to
have
look on
all
the
the
flight
pertinent
plan
information
here.
in your flight packet
Has
as
it
a
already
reminder.
got it?
Safe travels.
Yeah, it's already got it, look, programmed in. We don't even have to program it in. I thought we might have to transfer it from the tablet into the avionics. It's done it for us. So, that makes it very, very straightforward for us then. Taxi light on. Request taxi clearance, and again we can play
Tokyo
games with
ground
having this
Cessna
window
Golf.
open so we can see
November
more
Victor,
of the
Sierra
conversation.
Delta ready to taxi north departure.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta Taxi 2 and hold short of runway tree via taxiway. Contact tower on 1 tree. Fife when ready.
So where does the taxiway go? Because this doesn't show it properly. And again, that may be because this I haven't been able to refresh it. So what we could do is see if it's on Navigraph. So if we go, get rid of the weather out of the way, or the dialogue I should say. We're down here. I'm just going to zoom in. So it's just got the taxiways marked in. Can we see it on a dial?
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta, did you copy?
Yes, I was just busy.
Taxi 2 and hold short runway tree via taxiway Cessna Victor, Sierra Delta.
Okay, hold short runway 33. Taxi 2 and hold short runway 33. So we're not going to taxi straight to. It's literally going to. Well, the visual assistance is on. Look, it's going to be a box just here. Yeah, because we have to backtrack on the runway to get to 33. So if you look, we are here. We're going to have to turn right on the runway and go right down to the end. But obviously we can't enter the runway. So what we do is taxi around the corner. We can turn it off. Control-Alt-V will turn the assistance off, so we don't want it. So we'll just put ourselves in the box, put the brake on, and then we'll call the tower. For the first time, that box was in the right place. It was this side of the line. Okay, so we can press enter to request takeoff clearance.
Tokyo Tower Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta ready for north departure at runway tree.
So we need to taxi all the way down there.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta altimeter tree 0. 1 Fife north departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway tree.
So let's press comma, which calibrates our altimeter so we get the same altitudes they're talking about when we see them inside the aeroplane, and we can acknowledge takeoff clearance.
Cleared for takeoff runway tree Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
So we need to go and line up. Which means going right the way down the runway and turning around. So notice, looking at the compass, we're going the opposite way down the runway because we're going for runway 33. So it's an easy mistake to make that you go the wrong way down the runway. And remember, you can taxi quickly on a runway, so you don't have to dawdle along at walking pace. But you still need to stop, of course. Be careful because, yeah, with the wind being as it is today, I don't particularly want the wind to get underneath the wings and tip the airplane over while it's taxiing. brakes. I'm not going to leave the edge of the runway just in case this is bugged. Okay, same as usual, I'm not going to take off immediately, I'm going to get the airplane ready. So I'm going to hold on the parking brakes for a moment and put the heading bug the direction we're pointing. Set the initial altitude, say 2,500, it won't really matter. Put the heading mode on the autopilot ready and vertical speed mode, and we'll preset it for 500 feet a minute. So we've got the wind sensors alive, but they're not showing anything yet. As soon as we get out of the way of the trees, they might wake up, so we'll see. So make sure we've got 0 flaps. I've just toggled the flaps. That's a common problem with Flight Sim, that it gets out of sync with what you've got selected. On a big long runway you won't need flaps on the Cessna. So we're fully rich mixture, full throttle, and off we go. Given the wind is blowing around, I'm going to get quite fast before I rotate. So we maintain runway direction, climb through 800 feet, and then they'll give us our cruise altitude, which really they should give you that when you take off. It's a bit wrong that they don't. So autopilot's on, it's tracking heading, or it's trying to. You can see it swayed left before it swayed back right, and it's holding 500 feet a minute, climbing out towards 2,500 feet, but as we pass through 800 we'll get further instruction.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta continue for north departure.
We'll acknowledge.
Tokyo Tower Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta continue for north departure.
So we can turn north now and follow our route. So we just need to climb through 1,700 feet and we'll fly towards Matsumoto now. So our GPS route is directly 90 degrees away from us, so we'll just spin the heading bug around and fly out northwards away from the airport for a moment, and then get our bearings of what we can see around us. So the initial altitude they want us at was 1,700, wasn't it? Just staying away from the island here. Put ourselves on an intercept course with that GPS track. Coming up towards 1,700 feet, we can pull the engine back a bit now. And once we get through, that will disappear and then we can climb to altitude that we want. There we go. Fly to Matsumoto, that's the only instruction for us now. So we can go, and we know we want to get to 7,000 feet, wasn't it? So you can see the route appearing. And there's us flying back towards our GPS track on an intercept before we get to Yatta. So we just need to make sure. You can see, you can cheat a little bit on LittleNavMap. You can see at the moment we've got no vertical speed, so if we go and start climbing, let's say 600 feet a minute. and we wanted to get to...
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta, leaving my airspace, frequency change approved.
Acknowledge frequency change.
Tokyo Tower Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta frequency change.
But it hasn't told us a frequency to change to, which is interesting. I guess this is kind of simulating when you go to Unicom, or it's not called Unicom anymore, but I've forgotten the acronym. So I'm going to reduce the climb rate to 500 feet a minute. We want to get out to 8,500 feet. Is there a transition altitude involved at the airport? So if we go and... Did we program this into Navigraph as well? I believe we did, yes. So what I want to look for... it won't be on this chart though, will it? I believe if you've got Navigraph, the weather transition above 14,000, yes. So we're not going to have to go to standard barometric pressure. Just keeping an eye on the power. You're going to have to make this a shallower climb because we're losing airspeed alarmingly. So I'm just trying to get some airspeed back. And we'll go back to a 500 feet a minute climb. I'm just wary of this, even though I don't think it simulates damaging the aeroplane. Or maybe it does in career mode, who knows. We're just trying to stay within limits as far as we sensibly can. So I've already started leaning out the mixture as well, so we're coming through 3,000 feet. So the aeroplane, the engine won't operate optimally. You can do that by looking at the RPM. So if we richen it up, it's the sweet spot's about somewhere around there. It's a bit variable, but you just watch the RPM as you play with the mixture. Obviously we're still quite rich at the moment. As we get higher we'll be able to lean it right out. So we should be at this point be able to just go Alt R plus plus. Yeah, I'm not gonna speed up time until we're at altitude because we're nowhere near the track though, are we? Oh, I'm still on heading mode. I'm being an idiot. Not a problem. So one of the things you can do with LittleNavMap on here, look, you can see your projected climb rate. So we're not quite matching the simplistic rate that you could get away with it on the Cessna on a perfect day, because it's not a perfect day. We've got a crosswind of 30 knots again. It's nuts, isn't it? We're climbing out to 8,500 feet so we can clear the hills. We don't actually need to be that high to begin with. We could go for 6.5 until later in the flight. So, we should have had the strobes on. Probably need the certainly need the pitot heat on. Look, it's dropped to -3. I was so concentrating on the climbing. This just shows, look, if you don't follow a checklist, I've not got a checklist in front of me. I'm missing things. This is why you have checklists. Whether the simulator, I don't think it tracks you that accurately that it will start to pull me up for performance. We're getting there. Should we try speeding the time up a bit now? That's 3 clicks. I've just turned off the time acceleration. Yeah, look at it stalling. The autopilot can often cause more problems than it solves. Look at it trying to climb at 15 degrees at 6,000 feet. So we're going to say vertical speed. It's lost its mind, hasn't it? So we'll go altitude mode, altitude hold. Can it get itself out of it? No, it can't. The autopilot can kill you. So I'm forcing the nose down to get some speed back. That was accelerated mode, that's just how dangerous it is. So we're gaining some airspeed back. The problem is, we get up into the thin air, the Cessna really isn't happy up here at all. And there's turbulence kicking off these mountains. We've got 30 knot winds that are belting into the side of us and pushing the aeroplane around. And the Cessna is not happy in anything really above 20 knots or so winds. It's being kicked enormously. That was not me that dipped the right wing then, that was just the turbulence hitting the aeroplane. Well, you know, hitting pockets of air with each wing. So we're flying manually for a bit to get some speed up. Playing around with the mixture to see what performance I can get out of it. So if we just go heading mode for the moment, autopilot back on, hold altitude, although we're climbing like 750 meters, let's take control of it and say we want to climb at 500 feet a minute, 400 even, because remember we're high altitude now, so we're not going to hold speed easily in a climb anymore. So if you imagine your climb profile, as you get higher in little aeroplanes that aren't that powerful, it becomes a parabolic curve where you're getting closer and closer to cruise altitude. You see it in the big jets as well actually. Once you get up near their ceiling, the top part of the climb becomes, you know, a more and more slight climb. Okay, let's put ourselves on more of a intercept course with the GPS track. We're nearly up to altitude now. So I've gone 3 times fast on, look at it juddering when it hits turbulence. Hope it won't smash the plane. So I've turned the acceleration off again. It's just getting too close to it to, you know, to a stall. Even trying to climb at 300 feet a minute with the engine absolutely flat out. The acceleration is just too close to its limits when you hit turbulence. It's doing it again, look. It's putting us into a dead man's corner in the flight envelope. Keep an eye on it. We're asking for 300 feet a minute. The trouble is the gyros that control the autopilot can't react as quickly as a human can. So on the way to achieve one parameter, they end up, you know, massively behind the curve, and then they have to overcompensate, and it gets worse and worse, and that's how you end up stalling. Once we're level, it will be fine because we'll have enough headroom in terms of speed. So, USA PR1 is saying that the Vision Jet isn't too expensive, and then you can get the Caravan quicker for big payouts. Yeah, I'm on my way to buy the Caravan. That's literally all I'm doing for the next couple of days, and then I can start to make serious money. Really struggling to get to altitude. Remember, we've got to get another couple of thousand feet yet. Okay, we're winning the battle with speed, finally. Okay, you can see we've leaned out the engine quite a lot now. Just been looking at the airspeed while playing with the mixture. It seems to be a more reliable indication than RPM. Once you're in the thin air, RPM doesn't really count so much because the air's so thin. There isn't so much torque on the propeller, so the mixture, yeah, is complicated. You can see we've hardly started our journey, but once we get stable and fast, we can speed up. Like this. So that was 3 clicks of acceleration. So we're going to go nav mode now. Let the aeroplane put itself on the track, almost at the right altitude. But as soon as you get some headroom with speed, it's a lot happier. So rather than worry about the climb, what we're going to do is set the altitude for 8,500 for the mountains further on. We're going to do it really slowly, so during the whole flight. So 200 feet a minute. So we're now on our course. We had a bit of an adventurous climb out to get to altitude. Just playing around with the aeroplane, realising what it could do and what it couldn't. And now we just got a long run across the Japanese mountains. So yeah, we'll go and have a look at the cost of the Vision Jet after doing this flight and see how we get on. So you can see next waypoint, 165 miles to run. We can remove the range or decrease the range on this. So that's going to be our turning point to turn back in. Should we turn the interesting, why can't I turn off the there we go. I was looking on the wrong panel. Again, something that's going to be worth having a quick look at while we're en route is on the flight planner. If we go and put our route in that we're doing, so we can go back into LittleNavMap, go and copy the route, paste it, whoops, route, click in here, delete that, paste this in, remove the performance data, save it. So there it is on the map. Are there any restricted airspaces that we need to know about? No. We're good. Look at that nearly stalled it again. It's a so-and-so, isn't it? So we're at 8,500 feet now. Obviously indicated airspeed is showing lower than you'd expect because we're in the thinner air. So our ground speed will be significantly more. If we go and look on LittleNavMap, I think that will give us our ground speed. Yeah, 130 knots, look. 104 knots in the air, 130 on the ground. Obviously because the air is that much thinner up here. So yeah, I think it hadn't really occurred to me yesterday. I was just chugging through, grinding out the cargo missions, and it hadn't occurred to me just to turn off all of the guidance. But I didn't know how at that point. So we could just fly the route ourselves. So all you're really doing is following the radio transmissions, although it's a bit odd because flying at this altitude, this will be IFR really. So there's kind of holes in the sim, and again at these sort of altitudes you need to be careful about sectors really, so I don't think they've really implemented it. So you'd be, doing your homework on which sectors you're coming through and what altitude ranges they are. So we got in Class E over there, but again, we can wait. I guess we can just react to what the simulator asks us in terms of transfer. We might get the Nagoya ATC, maybe a transfer over to them. We'll wait and see. If you want to see the history of what you've said over, you just pull up the speech bubble, and you can see, look, Tokyo leaving my airspace. So we're essentially on own navigation at the moment until we enter a sector that requires control. So the option here is to tune Tokushima approach, but we're going to Matsumoto. It's interesting to see how the simulator queues things up. It's probably just because that's a nearby airfield. So if we can go and search in here and search for Tokushima. Yeah, it was just a nearby airfield when we were taking off. So that will disappear at some point. So we're speeded up if you're wondering why the aeroplane is bobbling around. Okay, I'm just going to take the headset off for a moment. As you can see, it's pretty horrific out there at the moment, and I turned the time down because we were close to these hills, and I don't trust the time acceleration when we're this close to scenery. Also, that peak is going to be well above the altitude of our aeroplane, so what we can do to see that we're safe in the aeroplane is go and change the rendering of the map. So we're going to go to map options. At the moment we're showing topographic. We're going to show relative, so anything that is at or above our altitude is going to appear. So we can see we're going to get close to that peak of that mountain that we pointed out, which is this one. But otherwise we're okay. There's another close approach there, look, with an outcrop. So it might make more sense to go via Ogiso. So we can program that straight in as a direct to. So we're just making sure we're staying away from these various peaks that are at the same altitude as us, because we can't see anything. Yeah, so our faith is in the instruments. And then when we leave Ogiso, we'll go back to our route. Yeah, so we go back for Cassie. It's interesting, isn't it? It's kind of scary in a way. You can, yeah, look, just at the other side of that pillar, in that cloud, there's a peak, and you can see it through the gaps there. Just peeking out here, look. Somewhere up there. But that's why this mode is so useful to peaks. So US APR1, I can see, yeah, there's no way they're going to let third-party tools into the career mode, because that means it can be hacked. There's no way they can let anything that sits in the community folder touch career mode. You'll start to see, if they do, they'll have to start policing it, and then you'll start to see people getting banned from Flight Simulator, which would be ridiculous. I'm still waiting for the day when they start detecting pirated aircraft. I'm not sure how they could do it, but I've got some ideas how I might protect aircraft and scenery. But I think if they did that, you would see a huge number of people suddenly disappear from Flight Simulator. If they, if they removed their online abilities, maybe. That's interesting. It shows pixels for the peaks. So let's go Alt R plus plus plus. So we're 3.5 minutes out from, if this was real time. Just picking our way through the peaks. This is quite scary, isn't it, when you can't see anything. I'm waiting for the windscreen to freeze up. It's -11 out there. We're in a cloud. What's going on? So we need to decide what we're going to do next in terms of route. So we're going to put the heading bug back, go heading mode. So we're just carrying on in a straight line at the moment, but we probably want to go for one of these overhead waypoints. It's a shame there's nothing on this side that we can pick. So if we go straight for F Cassie now, and that puts us back on our normal track. Great visibility up here, isn't it? So at the moment our offset or crabbing angle is only probably countering the crosswind. We need to go at a steeper angle to get to the GPS track. It's getting brighter outside, which usually indicates we're coming out of the cloud. Or we're just in a gap between clouds. Can you see anything out here? So it wants us to contact the tower.
Tower Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta 9er miles, southwest 8500, for to land.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta Tower. Altimeter 29er. 9er 4 fly left traffic runway 18.
So,
Left,
left traffic, runway
18 Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
So we've got flight to pattern entry basically. So runway 18, left. So we're going to go around the airport. Yep, so we're going to go heading mode, which we're on already. We want to go about over towards that waypoint maybe. So 65 degrees-ish, 63 degrees even. So we're going to turn. Because they want us to do left traffic, so turning left into the runway. So again, same as before, we will look to come up the side of the airport at the right sort of distance, about a mile, mile and a half. But we want to find out the altitude of the airport. Where is it? Overview. Elevation 2000. So we want about 4,000 feet initially we want to descend to. I think we're past most of the peaks now. So we're going to drop the altitude to 4,000 feet. Vertical speed. Come down at 1,000 feet a minute. Could go steeper than that actually. And we keep an eye on these colours are going to change. So I'm going to speed the sim back up. Look at the colours growing. We are very near the ground. Altitude hold. Look. This is the danger when you can't see a thing. Not in front of us anyway. We can see alongside us. So we'll just hold for the moment. Why is it not holding? It's still descending. And we are freezing up. This is always the risk. Okay, it's just waving around trying to hit the altitude. Okay, we're okay to descend now. So, back down to 4,000 again then. Vertical speed mode. I think I've got this set on slow motion, you know. Oh no, that's speeded up, isn't it? Or is it? It's hard to know. I've lost track now. Maybe that is accurate speed. Yeah, I think it might be. So, airfield's at 2100 feet. So ideally we want about 3100 feet to come down to. So 1,000 feet above the ground. And we have visibility. We're a little bit frozen up, but not too badly. This is going to be an IFR approach, isn't it? Why are they saying VFR? Has it got... no, it hasn't got ILS either. So we are going to turn to 360 degrees. The wind is going to push us further away as we travel. Hey, whereabouts are we in relation to the runway? So... it's 360, and we should see out to our side an airfield, and there it is. Through the ice. Hopefully we'll thaw out now. Okay, we're getting there. So again, when we get parallel to the end of the runway, they'll call clearance to land. And we'll fly a box pattern to come in. Oh, the 4th gen has a great comment there. Turn on the stopwatch on the EFB. The rate at which it advances. Oh, you say that though, but there's a clock. I just watch the seconds on that usually.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta wind 178 at 16. Clear to land runway 18.
Acknowledge landing
Cleared
clearance.
to land runway 18 Cessna Victor, Sierra Delta.
So we're just going to extend downwind now. And if we go and center this up and zoom in, it provides us, if I can... Oh, it's got the mouse problem where it's dragging when the mouse button wasn't down. Yeah, it's got the final marker there, look. So we can judge it. So we can get rid of this out of the way. Turn the autopilot off. So we know we're going to be going south for the runway, so we can turn directly west. Let's start losing some speed. Can't argue it's not a pretty place to go fly to, is it? I think that's on. Flaps. I'll come out early so we go through that final marker. We can't see it, but it's there in mid-air and it's one of the triggers for the sim. So we can see the PAPI lights now, we're a little bit high. So I just crept above the flap speed there, but I think that's the full flap speed that it illustrates. And I've only got the first step of flaps, so it should be okay.
500.
Yeah, there goes the marker. So, I got told off last time for not hitting a mark, but I think we've already done it. Let's just check. Yeah, we're already cleared to land because we did the pattern entry. That turbulence is kicking us all over the place. Apologise if you can hear drilling noises, it's coming through from next door.
Delta exit runway when able.
Okay, so we just taxi up to the box, park in the box, and and that's our mission done. So we don't get penalties for accelerating once we've got to the, well, you know, for skipping, once we get to the hold short box.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta, turn next taxiway.
I know. Again, so if we were doing this all properly, the landing light and the strobe would come off as we leave the runway.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta, contact ground on 125. 6.
125. 6 for Cessna Victor Sierra Delta. Ground Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta, request taxi to parking.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway November Cross runway 36 Sierra.
So again, it's a magical mystery tour around the airport.
Taxiing to general aviation parking using taxiway November Cross runway 36 Sierra Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
So Alt and N and Control Shift E. And we'll see what we get. So we got a B. What did we get marked down on? Airline procedures. I wonder why. It would be good if they had a bit more detail, wouldn't it? Was it because we flew at the altitude we wanted to? Although it's just upgraded to an A. Hey, I don't get that. So in terms of money, we should make a fair amount of money on that one. Yeah, look, 150,000. So we tripled it. We got a no skip bonus, bad weather bonus. We've got a hell of a... See, this is why it's worth flying in the awful weather. You get good bonuses for it. Reputation bonus and base income. So what's that done to my reputation? Almost back into super duper. Whatever else really means. And we've gone up to level 71, whatever that means. I think 75 is one of the triggers for one of the other types of aeroplane. It might be the big jets, maybe. Just trying to think. So we got nearly 1 million credits now. Halfway towards buying a caravan. Let's see what the next mission is going to throw at us would be. Are there any worth doing? 34,000. Do we go for a different area of the world? And go for one of those box missions? Maybe. In this part of the world, 35,000, 30,000. See, occasionally you get really high level missions show up. The thing that is not clear at all, if you go into companies and you look at your company that you formed and you go manage and you look in density areas, it tells you where the most lucrative work is. So this is saying basically go to either South America or Africa. But is that now? Will these change, or do I look? Is it winter according to UTC, or is it winter according to the country that's lit up? So in its winter. Because Australia's winter would be the UK's summer. I don't understand what this means. Yeah, but what I mean is today's date. Different parts of the world have different seasons on the same date. So it doesn't say what is it in relation to. So summer in the UK on the same date is winter in Australia. So it's difficult to know because, yeah, if you choose the wrong area, then the work isn't there to be done. So I guess you just can't base your decisions on it. This will be good once it's got a few more stats in it, won't it? So should we go and do one more? I'll go and set it off flying, and then I'm going to go and make a coffee. So we'll have to go and do our pre-flight again. So there's flying bulk cargo to Tanana Ambani. Interesting. What about New Zealand? Is there any cargo? No, there's no cargo down that way. There's a couple in Australia, but that costs a fortune to get the aeroplane there. Or to get yourself there either as well. Because I don't know if you realise this, you can just move yourself to anywhere in the map you want to go flying. So if you say we wanted to go middle of Africa, where it was saying was the density at some times of the year, all you have to do is go and pick an airfield. And you could do fast travel. It would cost me 33,000 credits to get there. And then I'd have to get my aeroplane there as well. So, but I'm more inclined to get a variety of routes to maybe go to Northern Europe, maybe. So, Norway, Finland, and Sweden. They might be good fun. They're all going to be really cold though, aren't they? And a Cessna 172 can't deal with the cold very well. So maybe Japan is, to get the weather bonuses, maybe Japan is the place to go do the 172 flights. So the best one available at the moment is 34, so if you think we can get 3 times that, we'll get at least 100,000 credits out of it, which will get us over the million, which will be quite cool. So it's a 160-mile trip, and it's largely over the sea. We can avoid climbing too much. So we can just come out over the ocean, go round the headland, and avoid climbing. So just fly flat all the way. That's actually quite a good one then, isn't it? If we turn the clouds off so we can actually see it, look. We can just fly around the outside. Again, it's up to us how we get there. Yeah, let's accept it. So if we go transfer the plane over, which won't cost very much. I think you just pay the fuel fee for the distance to transfer an aeroplane. So we can do this all in the EFB, remember. So we can center it on where we are. There's the advised route. We don't have to use it, remember. This is just a reference. So what we're going to do is go and refer to... We can either do it in here. So if we go... Now, within here, do we get the options to save things? So can we just reset this now? Send route to avionics, request route from avionics, load or save plan file. But you can't, that's not actually available to you in a career mode mission by the look of it. So we'd have to change it in here. So we're going RJNY. So let's go and change our route. RJNY to RJBD. save that. So there's our straight line route. So what we're going to do is take off, and rather than fly over land, we'll go straight for the On May waypoint. So if we right click on it, we'll add that to our flight plan, insert it after runway 27. Okay. Then we're going to go out to this Mubal waypoint, so we click on it, right click even, Mubal, add it to our route, insert it after On May. They've copied the way Navigraph works a little bit with this. And then we'll go to Kisei. And add Kisei. I need to close. Have I still got... That's interesting. A friend of mine just messaged me. We need to insert Kisei after Mubal. So then we can just avoid land all the way and stay over water. Which in a single engine aeroplane isn't the best idea in the world ever. Yeah, interesting. Oh god, I'm going to have to go and deal with this. Be back in a moment. My phone's going mad, and so back in a moment. How do I actually stop the sources? Display capture. What? Be back in 2 seconds. I just need to go and launch an app and protect somebody's privacy while I respond to them. Okay, that's that done. So now I can show the screen again. It's a good friend of mine. We were talking about movies last night, but I don't think she'd appreciate her messages being broadcast all over YouTube as they pop up on the corner of the screen. So we've got these waypoints that we can run through. So go On May, Mubal, Kisei. So add waypoint. On May. Mubal. And Kisei. And if we go and look at that on the map, it should broadly replicate what we saw. There we go. So I'm just doing this out of a self-interest point of view that if we're not flying over land, you won't get any turbulence. Also, you don't have to climb too high. So we may not lose out on the procedure because we flew at the altitude they told us the whole way. So it'd be interesting to see if that has an impact on it. Fuel management, fuel and payload, manage the fuel, fill the airplane back up, it doesn't really matter, pay, back, it just gives you an element of freedom. Oh, have I just wiped out my route? No, it's still there. Fly. So get my controls back in the positions where they need to be. Okay. So we'll do it all by the book again and see how it goes. Although we know we don't actually have to do this, but it gives it a bit of interest, doesn't it? It breaks up the process. Then Shift C will get us into the airplane. Both tanks, rich mixture, beacon light on, put the nav light on as well, it won't hurt, and crank the throttle open. So until you get the navigation display on, the engine instruments appear on the primary display, and turn the engine over.
Captain, are you ready? Great. It's Shigeki, your dispatcher, you know?
Avionics on.
Just a quick reminder about today's job. You're carrying bulk cargo on this flight. Shipment is from our partner's site and important.
Calibrate
You must
altimeter.
reach Osaka ASAP. Our sensitive cargo containers are built to handle slight turbulence, but maintain a constant flight speed and adapt to changing conditions. A prompt and safe delivery is key for the success of our business. You have all the pertinent information in your flight packet as a reminder. Here's to a successful flight.
So we're not actually going to need much from LittleNavMap because we've got it all on the onboard instruments and we've got it programmed in on the tablet as well. So we should just be able to go for taxi clearance.
Shizahama ground Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta request taxi to the active departure to the west.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta taxi to and hold short of runway 27 via taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 123. 1 when ready.
So we acknowledge taxi clearance.
Taxiing hold short
And it's a long one.
27.
So we're going to press Alt and N. We won't get penalised. So this will put us short of going onto the runway without having to spend 10 minutes taxiing down the airport. So we're going to press Ctrl-Alt-V to get rid of the visual indications. So we're going to press Enter now to request takeoff clearance.
Shizahama Tower,
Notice the flaps have
Cessna
gone down,
Golf.
so I'm going to cycle
November
the flaps.
Victor Sierra Delta at runway 27 ready for departure to the west.
Also, notice that they've
Cessna
already gone and
Golf,
turned all the lights
November
on.
Victor
We're not on the
Sierra
runway yet.
Delta altimeter 29er. 9er Fife West departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 27.
So we acknowledge clearance and then we can enter the runway.
Cleared for takeoff runway 27 Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
Yeah, I've been using the comma key to calibrate the barometric pressure. So that's why you didn't see me go and fiddle with the altimeter. They turned the taxi light off. It's bizarre, isn't it? Some of the things it does to you. Pitot heat on. Again, we'll double check, comma, yeah, it hasn't moved the altimeter. Parking brake off. And we'll set the heading bug, set the altitude. We're going to guesstimate what they're going to give us, so we'll say 1800 feet. Hopefully it won't be too much different than that. So we'll go and preset heading mode, pre-select visual, vertical speed mode. 500 foot climb out. We've got no wind data at the moment. And we have wind data. 22 knot headwind. But it doesn't seem too gusty. So we're travelling west at the moment, so we're going inland, which is a bit crazy. situation to find
Cessna
yourself in.
Victor
You
Sierra
want to be
Delta
turning south.
continue for west departure.
But yeah, we're going to go south. So we'll acknowledge the handoff.
Shizahama Tower, Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta continue for west departure.
So if we climb out to 1,500 feet, at least going west, and then we'll go and join our route. So this wants us at 1,500. So I'm just hand flying for the moment. I mean, because there's no point, is there? I just put the autopilot. Okay. Look at the wind pushing us. So we're going to turn left in a moment. Okay, we're now under our own navigation essentially. So I'm going to take us up to 2,500 feet. Actually 2,000 is probably enough, isn't it? Whoops. The perennial problem of head tracking. Miss buttons that you wouldn't in the real world. One, two, three.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Shizahama Tower, Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta.
This completely ignored the altitude. Oh, it was still at 2,000, wasn't it? So the target was below the altitude we were already at because I hit the wrong button with the head tracking bobbing around. So let's go for 2,500 just for argument's sake. We're still below the cloud base, which is fine. And we'll go nav mode. There we go, we're now en route. So we're going to pull the power back. We're going to have the steadiest and most calm flight in the history of Flight Simulator, probably. Whoa. See that? That's the autopilot and accelerated mode having an absolute nightmare. So I've turned the speed back down. Yeah, it's not going to fix itself, look. So autopilot off. That you just need to be careful on tight turns. I'm going to have to hold forward trim down for about 10 minutes now. Isn't it funny? Accelerated mode really can't handle any strong maneuvers. It can just keep you going in a straight line. So autopilot mode. So we'll leave it on until it's steady. We'll leave it on real time. It's just capturing the CDI. I thought it might get away with that going around the corner because we had quite a lot of speed on the way into the corner. The one thing I might do, I'm tempted to go up to above 3,000 feet just to lean the engine out a bit more. Oh, we're okay, we're doing 110 knots, which is about half of the course for the Cessna. So we've got 140 miles to run across the ocean. But I'm hoping, with us going in a straight line with no turbulence, how much can we accelerate this thing before it crashes? 130 miles. I'm just going to go and have a look at those sectors because we've been bitten by this before, haven't we? Great. What altitude are they though? Well, that's just a Class E, but it says it's show all airspaces. So, looking on the airplane, we're nowhere near it yet, but there's this one here that's... It's this one, isn't it? Restricted. So we need to avoid it. But what areas it's restricted from 0 feet to 50,000 feet? I wonder why. So we're going to avoid it. So, heading mode. We'll go this side. So if we go direct for XMT27, so let's do that. So for light plan, sorry, direct to XMT27. And enter, activate. So aeroplane's turning right. So if we turn the sectors on, I wonder if we've got it in LittleNavMap as well. Yeah, there it is, look. So we're flying for this waypoint and then we'll go for this one, so Nadar afterwards. So let's go and make our actual flight plan, because Direct 2 is not part of your flight plan, if that makes sense. So we're going to go up. Let's get rid of this. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Clear, clear. I don't want to do that. There we go. This is broken, isn't it? So there was on May. So following on May, we're going to XMT27. And then from there, we want to go to... Now, where were we originally going? names. Ushio. Mubel. Where was Mubel? I have to go and search for it on the map. Navates. Mubel. Okay, you don't have Mubel. That would be why I can't see it on LittleNavMap then. There's Kisei. Add Otoa. Otoa even. So that's what's going on. Or that's what we would like to do to avoid the restricted airspace. So we just need to add Otoa in and remove Mubel because we don't know what it is. Mubel, menu, delete. Oh, could we not just get rid of that step? Clear. Oh, we press delete on it, don't we? Clear. Remove Mubel, enter. And then, so in front of Kisei, we want Otoa. So with it over the top of Kisei, we roll the inner knob, go OTOWA, press enter, and there we go, there's our flight plan programmed. But we're not using it at the moment, we're doing direct to. So we'll leave the aeroplane flying along until we get to XMT27. Well, they're saying that if you go and look in here, oh, I can't quite see it, it's frustrating, isn't it? Ah, if we roll backwards. Yeah, so if we go and go straight back to the route, so rather than doing direct to, we'll cancel direct to. Cancel the direct to. I can activate a leg, can't I? There we go. So what's the airplane doing? It's turning right, yeah. So it's activated that leg. So it's getting back at the closest approach on an intercept angle. So it's made a 45-degree intercept from where I am to that leg. You can see it on LittleNavMap. So we didn't. That wasn't part of the route, remember, that waypoint. It was over here. So it's coming back here on a 45-degree intercept, and then it will turn left. It's all fun and games, isn't it? So, Alt R, 1, 2, 3, speed the sim up. And we will slow it down when it gets near the line. Get rid of the flight plan, zoom in, and it will zoom in with us centered, which is good. So let it do this at normal speed, so it doesn't mess up the autopilot. And then we are cooking on gas, as they say. We have avoided the penalty of going through a restricted area. I should have checked that when I programmed the route. So, everybody tell me, what does SimRate Bandit do? Does it slow you back down on approach to the aircraft needing to do anything? Because let's see if, look at it wavering around, and is it going to recover? Just about. Does my EFB date have 15th of August 2022? That's a good question. How would I find that out? Yes. So that's because it told me on the way into the sim this morning that it couldn't have live weather. So I'm guessing these are preset weathers on the... Oh, not into the sim, into career mode, sorry. It complained about it. So there's obviously something going on with the live weather not working with career mode properly yet. So 50 miles to run till the next waypoint, or 57, and counting down. And we've got time accelerated. It's quite interesting, isn't it, to see the curveballs it throws at you. And to work around them, and to use, rather than having boxes in the sky to fly through, to actually do it properly. Use the G1000. So all of the things we've learnt over the couple of years with 2020, with how to use obviously Garmin navigation screens and things like that, it all comes into play all of a sudden. So SimRate Bandit. Can I install SimRate Bandit while it's running? I've just turned this down. Well, I thought I did. So SimRate Bandit. It's on GitHub. Interesting. So it uses SimConnect, therefore you can install it while the sim's running. So if we... Is there a release version? Here it is. So download the zip file. Let's try it.
SimRate 1.
Interesting.
SimRate 2. SimRate 4.
So if I then press Control Alt and minus.
SimRate 2. SimRate 1.
Very cool. So SimRate 1 is real time, I guess.
SimRate 2. SimRate 4. SimRate 8.
It's handling it just about, and it'll make our journey a lot quicker. That's really worth having. That's a great little tool. Thank you very much to whoever found that one out. I'll have to go and thank the developer, give him a donation, I guess. It's a great little tool to have in your back pocket. Especially for doing the career missions, because yeah, who would sit and do it in real time. Yeah, you could launch it from the Stream Deck, couldn't you? As well as having the control over it. Because you can use obviously the keyboard mappings to increase and decrease the sim rate. So you can put that on the Stream Deck as well, if you were so disposed to. So we are approaching Otoa. It'd be interesting to see if this marks us down for having flown further than we needed to.
Simrate 4. Simrate 2. Simrate 1.
So we're a minute away from Otoa. I mean, just slowing it down so we don't have any issues with the autopilot when we reach the corner. So put it back in real time, essentially. Hopefully it should bank right some point soon. I think this might be my final flight today, you know, because I've been on here for several hours already and it's not helping me get other things done around the house. So it would be useful if I went and did some other things. I've got this week off work, so that's why I'm able to put some hours into this at last. But it really is, isn't it, the quest to get the caravan, to get some serious money in the bank, to go and do freelance cargo missions at £1 million a time. Okay, so that's turned the corner.
Simrate 2. Simrate 4. Simrate 8.
But at some point I'll probably get fed up with all of this career mode nonsense and go back to flying the big planes. So I want to have a look at the A300, which came out last week, didn't it? So I released the documentation for it. I ran through it, but I haven't actually recorded it, firing up the A300. But I need to get back to it and have another look at it. So 20 miles to run until we get into the neighbourhood of where we were going. So where are we? And then a 10-mile turn in, and then we'll get ATC coverage at some point on the way in. Don't need anything to do with any of that. So you can see our aeroplane approaching from the southwest. Let's turn the sectors off. And turn off the aircraft centering. Yeah, just looking at the 4th gen's comment there about the Pilatus PC12, I'd heard that as well, that it's full of bugs. But, you know, I think the scale of what they've actually delivered here is pretty spectacular, and there's no doubt that it's not finished. That's it's not really its bugs, it's just not finished.
Simrate 4. Simrate 2. Simrate 1.
Okay, so we just make the turn in towards our destination. Shall we look at this from the side? Is it LittleNavMap that I'm using? Yes, it is. It's kind of a go-to sketchpad for drawing flight plans, and it was useful today because when you turn the sectors on, we had a restricted sector we had to avoid. So I reprogrammed the flight plan midway. Changed my mind about how to do it twice, but that was the restricted sector we had to be aware of. We discovered it by looking at the flight planner, and it was right there in the middle. I turned on the restricted sectors and it lit up. But it wasn't very clear on the flight planner which of these areas was the restricted one. It turns out it was the one right in the middle. Okay, so we're checking in towards the destination. We'll get an invitation in a moment to communicate with ATC, so we'll go and open the chat window as well so we get to see everything that's been said. See, along the way it might be asking, it might have been waiting for us to do this. Maybe we should have done it earlier. I wonder if we'll get a markdown for not having tuned, even though it didn't say anything up here about it. I wonder if we should have tuned to Tokyo Center as soon as we were out over the ocean. You'd think it would have been up here, wouldn't you? But you never know. So, the 4th Gen and Dark Dodger, you're playing with the Caravan. Has it got the GNS 530 in it?
Tokyo Tower Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta 8 miles south, 2500, for to land.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta Tokyo Tower, altimeter tree 0. 06, make left base runway tree.
Right, there we go. Left base, runway 33. Acknowledge pattern entry instruction.
Enter left base runway tree Cessna Victor.
So we
Sierra
can cut
Delta.
off. We're going to double back. Okay, so we're going to turn 330 degrees now. You'll see there's some mad logic to this. So heading mode. We need to get left base. To trigger the ATC, we need to be coming past the airfield as if we're going to turn left in. So we're going to turn right first. And then come up here, turn box and do an S shape. I know it sounds mad, but it'll work, honestly.
Simrate 4. Simrate 8.
So we're just carrying on.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta wind tree 8 at 12.
Simrate 4.
Cleared to land runway
Simrate 1.
tree.
Yeah, see, that's the sim's actually gone wrong.
cleared to land runway Tree Cessna Victor.
So we don't need to
Sierra
do this
Delta.
now. But we do need, we need to go about east, I guess. So he's just given us clearance to land, so we don't. What happened there? This is a bug in the sim. It took no notice of the direction we were flying. It should be when you're coming down here and you're perpendicular. We became perpendicular with the end of runway 33, but going the opposite direction, and it took it as a trigger in the sim to give us clearance to land. So now we're coming over this way, because if we go and have a look on the tablet, we need to go through that final marker, remember, just to trigger the mode. There it is, look. So we need to go out over and follow the bay in. What altitude are we at? So we need to be down to 1,000 feet. Pretty sharply. So vertical speed. We can do this visually, to be honest. What the hell's going on with the screens? Alt 7. There we go. Shift space. Alt 8 resets its position. There we go. Right, yeah, so let's turn the autopilot off. The autopilot very handily gave us a handful of aileron trim then. So, landing light was already on. I'm just looking at where that final marker is in relation to us. And it's done the usual trick, look. The left mouse button while dragging the screen has stuck on. So let's get down to flap speed. .20 winds. You have to be careful as you turn into the wind if it's strong that you're... Look, we're almost overspeeding the flaps there, just because we turned into a strong wind. We don't need this window open anymore. So we'll probably get another call out when we pass through final, which will be in a few seconds. So we're just looking at this here, look. It just triggered the sound. We didn't have to do another call out by the sounds of it. I'm just going to check the window. No, we don't, because we were already cleared to land.
500.
Turbulence.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta exit runway when able.
See, in the real world, you would copy that. It's a downfall of the sim, I guess. One of the tiny things that are actually probably computationally really difficult to do, to look back at history to know if a call out has already been made or if the situation hasn't changed.
Cessna Victor Sierra Delta contact ground on 127. Tree.
127. Tree Cessna Victor Sierra Delta. Tokyo Ground, Cessna Golf. November Victor Sierra Delta request taxi to parking.
Cessna Golf, November Victor Sierra Delta taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway.
Taxiing to general aviation parking using taxiway, Cessna Victor Sierra Delta.
Oh, it's just over there. May as well do it. Rather than skip it. Oh, before we do it though. Landing lights and strobes off. It doesn't mark that, but it's just me being at least a little bit accurate. Doing the usual trick where I've underestimated just how poor the steering is on this thing. Okay, let's see what scores we get. Yeah, it doesn't like you deviating from the reference route too much, does it, by the look of it? $120,000. That's not bad, is it? Considering it was a base price of 34. So we went 4 times. Pretty good. And we're getting closer and closer to 75, which is one of the trigger points for the big jets. We're over a million credits now. We've got to get twice that many though to go and buy a second-hand caravan. Let's go and check the prices again, shall we? See if they change. All companies, this one, fleet, buy aircraft, used aircraft. Oh, it's dispiriting, isn't it? It's still a long way away. Although someone was saying you can pick up a jet cheaply. So if I went and did... Actually, if we go to missions, because I've passed the jet certification. So I went to employee mode and look around the world for a VIP. That's a 737. What do you get for that? Oh, it's not actually lit up yet. VIP airliner. 737 MAX. So I'd get 64,000, but it's an 8-hour flight. That's going to take forever, even with acceleration, isn't it? Here's a VIP flight. So Pilatus PC-12. So if I was to, it doesn't tell you how much it is, does it? That's annoying. But obviously the game you want to play is doing the VIP trips with your own aeroplane. So there's a Cessna, it's only 26,000, look. 27,000 for that one. So let's have a look. Okay, so these are highlighted. It's probably worth pointing out, even though it would take a long time to do the airliner flight, the chances of doing an airliner flight absolutely perfectly and 100%ing it are a lot higher, because it's just naturally governed by procedural rules. And you'll have a SID and a star, hopefully. So you literally 100 or 300 feet off the runway, you're going to engage autopilot and auto throttle, and you're going to have nothing to do apart from switching in and out of sectors, because I can't imagine they're going to declare an emergency or anything, or divert you en route, unless it's an incredibly impressive ATC system. So it's literally just going to be babysitting the aeroplane for hours on end. Anyway, that's another problem for another day. I'm going to leave it there, and we'll see you all soon. So, thank you very much for the donation there, Pyro Shep. That's really appreciated. I can't believe how many people are watching the stream. This is madness. All I've been doing is ferrying cardboard boxes around in Cessnas. 100 people have been watching, but then I guess we've been doing it fairly correctly, or within the bounds of the sim, doing it fairly correctly. It's been good fun. So it just shows, if you go and turn the visibility of the assistance boxes off, there's nothing to stop you going and organising your own route and using the avionics in the aeroplane properly, and just going and doing it. So yeah, I would urge everybody to have a crack at it and just ignore the guideline route and do your own thing. So I have got a document, so I'll finish the video on this. It's me doing a bit of pre-sales, I guess. So if we go to Substack and go to /John Beckett, Ko-fi, sorry. Ko-fi.com/John Beckett/shop. Which is where, shortcut to do this. If you go to johnbeckett.online in a browser, that tells you where all the stuff I do is, and you can go to Ko-fi, and you can go to the shop, and if you type in here G1000, you will find a guide to a handy step-by-step functional start procedure for the Cessna. So that goes through what we just did. It's even got the engine run-ups and things like that in it. G1000 guide and a detailed start procedure for the G1000. That will be the classic Cessna. So although that was for Flight Sim 2020, it hasn't changed. And I think I've got a 2024 version of it as well. So if you go and search for 2024 and have a dig through, my word, there we go, Flight Sim 2024, Asobo Cessna 172 Skyhawk, and it is the G1000 version. But it's a checklist that you can look through if you want to see what they look like. If I delve into Google Drive and type in C172, this is the Flight Sim 2024 G1000 Cessna start procedure. So it gives you references on all the view keys within the sim. It's got, and then a pre-flight, like a functional startup procedure. So doing your walk around, things you need to do. And it's got all the shortcut keys within the cockpit. Obviously, once you learn where things are, you don't need them anymore, but then it explains in terms of location where everything is, what to do, what to switch, how to set it all up. Yeah, and it goes all the way through starting the airplane up. So the G1000 guide is a bit of a monster. If we scroll down, how to set origin airports, so it's how to program the whole damn thing. Set destination airports, set en route waypoints, how to use airways, how to configure SID stars and approaches, how to load SimBrief flight plans into it, which it can do. So yeah. So those are all available in the shop at Ko-fi. So NCC 71201, is that Enterprise? Does that make me a super nerd if that is an Enterprise flight number or ship number? Will I be streaming again tonight? I don't know. I've already been on for several hours today. How many hours are we running at already? This is mad, isn't it? Does it tell me on YouTube? No, it doesn't. What is the time? 3 o'clock. Oh, crikey. No, I doubt it, because I've been online so much. If I do go online tonight, I may try and do a flight with MyAir, completely outside of the Korea system. So if you've not seen MyAir online, their website isn't actually that impressive. But what they do is great fun. They are a community of tubeliner guys. And yeah, they have got an online website, but you don't need it at all. MyAir have a Discord server. So if I go and open Discord, I haven't opened Discord for a while, so it's going to update itself to death, isn't it? So if we go and have a look, and where are we? MyAir. So Tuesday night flight. It's Tuesday today, isn't it? So they're going from Kitila to Oslo. So if you go and look in the events forum, where is it? 17th, isn't it, today? Of the 12th, there it is. Yeah, Kitila. Away to Lapland to see Santa. So there's the flight plan. It's being filed by a guy called Jeff. He's a really nice guy. And they just hang out in the voice channels and organise the flight amongst themselves. And one or two of them will be controllers. And they just use Discord for voice chat to do the controllers. So if you search for MyAir online, you'll find their website, or MyAir Virtual, sorry. You'll find their website, and there should be a link in here to join to the Discord server somewhere. But yeah, they all just hang out, and they're a great laugh, and they sit in the voice channels on Discord and do the flight together with somebody, usually somebody nominated as a controller. If there's enough people, they might even have handoffs between controllers, which they simulate just by jumping around the Discord channels. It's really, really good. It's good fun. It's like VATSIM with no strict rules. So you'll just get laughed at or castigated, basically, if you do something silly or if you don't follow the rules. They are quite sticklers, though, for not talking or not standing on each other in radio telephony parlance. The other one I can do a bit of a sales job on is Virtual Flight Online, which I founded, obviously. And you can see there's lots of channels. There's thousands of people in here. Back when Flight Sim 2020 first started, I built this as a place to go flying on multiplayer mode, and you can see they have events mapped out all the time that are coming up. So you can see there was one yesterday, there's another one coming up on Monday, there's another one on this coming Sunday. So again, they typically get about 50 or 60 people on a flight though. And yeah, so the voice chat channels, rather than being one or two, will be a screen full of people. And they'll all be live together flying a route. And you can see a typical route here, look, where they're just going airfield hopping. I'm not sure if they're saying yet about which simulators to use, or if they're tagging. They don't appear to be tagging the flights. So I imagine it's everyone for themselves, and to arrange yourself to use all players, and the Southeast Asia server. Does that still exist in the new sim, by the way? Oh, hello. I can't get the focus back into Flight Sim. Is it broken? I think I might have broken it. It's had enough, hasn't it? Oh no, we've just got our mouse stuck. That was all. Yeah, how does the multiplayer servers work these days? Online. West Europe, North Europe, West USA. Oh, Southeast Asia is still there then. Okay. We always used to use Southeast Asia in 2020 because it was quieter than the other servers, and therefore a bit more. It was more stable in the early days. Anyway, I am going to call it a day and go and have a stretch and get on with some other things. And I'll see you all soon. So that was good fun. So we've proven it makes it a bit less boring if you go and do the missions as you would a proper flight. So you go and do some planning ahead of time, you look for sectors and so on and so forth. Look at the altitude you're dealing with. Figure out if your aeroplane can actually deal with the route you're going. It makes it a bit more interesting. Right, I'm going to leave it there, finally. I'll see you soon. Take care.